Okay. Okay. So trying to look at the result of the proficiency test here. Let's see how many people have attempted this. Success rate showing 0 here. Okay, I think 7 people have attempted this. In which Excel function? Okay, actually 9 has attempted this, and it appears we don't have a pass yet. So meaning we're between beginners or medium. So folks who are just joining, use that link that we have here. The cutoff mark is 80%. It's not 100. It's 80%. So yeah, at least if you get 80%, then we know you are indeed medium level user in Excel, right? Excel could be funny. It looks like a very simple tool, but it's a crazy tool. I can tell. I can assure you that. But well, let's have a look at the demo. So for the demo purposes, I'm going to be using a system that we provide for training purposes at Serial Project. And I'm going to quickly show you around the tool, and we'll then take it from there. So let me share my screen here. So this is an hands-on tool. Basically, this tool actually has okay, give me a second here and try something. So the tool has okay, I'm multitasking here. So if you see me pausing, I'm still trying to figure out the streams. I don't want people to miss out from the stream. Okay, so you can see my screen, right? I hope it's big enough for you to see. Kind of let me know if it's big enough. I have some comments here. Oh, okay. Somebody said they got 81%. Well, that'd be cool. I'll probably be the first person to get it, 81%. So this is the tool that I'm talking about. So I'll quickly do a show around of this. So this is the lessons. The lessons are listed here, and then if you go to this particular exercise or this module, it's talking about fundamentals. So this is the one that I just went through with you. I just went through the PowerPoint, but this is the actual lesson. So if you are enrolled into this course, you will have access to this basically for a period of 3 months, and so that you can go over anything that I've not talked about here. You can also get the opportunity to practice hands-on. So it has labs. So these are the labs here. Okay, so the labs for chapter 1 is analyzing data, creating and modifying a table, sorting out, filtering data. For the module 2, nothing. Okay, because it's not showing. Let me back up. Let's go to the second chapter. So this is the second one here, visualizing data with Excel. So if I click on this, see it's taking me here, and then you can see I see your hands up. I'll come back. I think that's Olu, right? So visualizing data with Excel. So there's also labs, as you can see the labs right here. So creating charts, modifying and formatting charts, applying the best practices. So actually, I want to start with creating charts, okay? So because you know, it will be also be an opportunity for us to look at some of the fundamentals tools in the use of Excel for data analysis. So I'm currently in like a virtual lab here. So this virtual lab will you would have access to a system where you'll be able to get hands-on and practice. So all the files that you're going to use is already here. So I'm going to click on machine. Okay, sorry, Excel 2019, click on connect. So it would launch another system right on top of my own system, where I will gain access to all the tools that I'll be needing. So while we're waiting for it to load up, Olu, what question do you have? Okay, let me try again. So I'm going to try again. Um, so is it still big now? Okay, speaking up now. Okay. So let me just check the guys on the stream to make sure they're also getting. Okay, so I think they're good. So the first thing that I would want to show here is that now we're sitting on a different system that is not my own system, and this system has the files, has the computers, the application, which is the Excel we're going to use here. And then on the right hand side, you will see the lab that we're going to do. So this lab also has instructions. So that's the interesting thing about this tool that we're using here. You see this arrow here. If you get stuck somewhere, you can actually click on that arrow and it will launch a video where it will show you exactly what you are expected to do. And once you figure it out, all you just have to do is go and do it. So for every step, you can see that that video link is there to help you, you know, understand better what you're supposed to do. So in this particular exercise here, we'll learn how to create charts in Microsoft Excel. So don't forget this particular session here is advanced analytics with Excel, but the included in that objective is also visualization. So visualization is a big thing, even though this is one big word that they are using, and then you then tend to think, okay, is it just all about showing graphs and all that? No, there are a lot of things that actually relates to processing data that connect directly to the goal of visualization, because every data that we get, no matter what format, shape, form, if it's raw data or whatever, we want to gain some insight from it. We don't have time, especially if you are communicating with executives. They don't have time for all these numbers. So they want to see something that indicates maybe a trend, an insight, or you're telling some type of story with your data. So visualization is the tool that we use for that. So Excel has lots of tools that will help us with visualization in that sense. So you can see the instruction here that is being provided to us to carry out each task. Navigate to local disk. So the local disk is here. Just click here, then click on the local disk. You double click on the local disk, and you want to navigate to workbook L2. So here you'll see the data visualization tab, and then you go to L2 here. So let's go to L2. Now you can see the data we're being presented with here. This is like the raw data that was uploaded here, but from this data that was uploaded, there are other worksheets that have been created, sales trends, and then also quarterly sales. So what we want to do here is that we want to come to this tab where to select the range, that we want to create chart from. So see, we just selected that, and then what we just do then is click on insert. So we click on insert here, and then you can even see it's recommending the type of things that we might want to include here. But what we really want is a chart that looks like what we are seeing here. So we're doing clustered column chart. So you will just over on this, just like you want to click on them, but you're not really clicking, so that it will tell you the type of charts that you are, hovering on. So this is the one I believe we're looking for the uh, There are different types of this bar chart that they will bring up. The one we're really looking for is the clustered one. Yeah, I believe so. All charts, so we can see the clustered one stacked. Right, so this is the one cluster column. So you click on cluster column here, and you can see automatically it already put in even the data that you are looking for. So by copying from that particular table there, you can see it's already showing us the chart. Even it's having some type of formatting done already. But here is the thing: once you have it ready this way, you can still go ahead and do a lot of formatting, basically to make it easily readable for your target audience, depending on what your target audience is. So there are other type of things you can still do here. You can do stacked column. The one we did just now is clustered. You can do stack column if that's what works better for us. Like I said, depending on the audience that you have. And the other thing that I believe we can do here is if you want to format, you can see that there's a context menu. So what I mean context menu here is if you click in just any area outside of that chart, you see that context menu disappeared, right? So meaning that that context menu is only applicable to this chart that we just created. Okay, so I'm going to click on that again. You will see that the context menu will show again. So it's from this context menu now that we can then modify this design. You can see there are different chart style that you can choose. You can choose the one that suits you. uh, I think somebody is talking there. Okay, I think we're good. So you can format it to any type of format that suits you depending on your audience. And other things I believe you can do here is you can also change the colors. As you can see, you can choose any type of color you want. You can also choose even the layout type. If you want a layout that shows the numbers, you want let me see what other layouts we have here. So if you want the layout that is also showing a table of the data that you have actually pulled into this chart, you can see that. You can also add elements. So there are different elements that you can add or that you can change. So you can see the chart title here. See, if you don't want title, just click none. Okay, and then that chart title disappears. You go back because I've moved it out. And there are other things that you can show here: axis, primary, horizontal axis. So there are a lot of modifications that you can even add data. So you can add additional data, into this from just clicking on select data. You can add data. So you can also change your chart type from here. So we use the cluster column earlier. We can use another type of column. I mean, we can use the stack column. See, and then once you just click on OK, you see it change it to a stack column type. So I will leave this one here. I just wanted to show you this as a way to get us into the mood of what this really looks like in terms of the labs that you have access to. And aside from the labs, you also have access to quiz. So if I click on close there, you would see it will show me all the labs that I have access to in this chapter. Remember, we were in chapter 2. So I'm going to go back to the lessons here, and then we can see now that we've looked at the how to create the chart in our Excel. So this is the one that we're working on. So he went on to talk about modifying and formatting charts, which I quickly just went over right there. But if you actually, are enrolling into the course, you will see all the steps to doing each of these, because I might be doing it and it looks easy, but the moment you step into Excel and you try to do this thing, you realize, like this guy has been doing this for some time. That's why it looks so easy going through it. So now the next one we want to go to is actually analyzing data with formulas and functions. So formulas and functions in Excel is one of the the most useful tool in Excel when it comes to basic skills. So if you really want to get to that medium skill set level of Excel, you definitely need to know how to use functions. So let's look at the type of things that we'll see in functions. Um, Now, so function is basically there are a lot of stuff to talk about on that function actually. So you can analyze data using formulas and named ranges. You can analyze data using functions, implement data validation, forms and controls, use lookup functions in visualizations. Okay, so this is a lot of stuff, right? So what I will do here is let me quickly go through because I'm being very um, paying attention to the time here. I don't want to spend too much time. I actually have another class happening in some few minutes. So what I'm going to, I mean, in some, like at 1 p.m. actually. So what I also want to do here is I'm going to jump to the functions, the lookup function, because lookup function is one that a lot of people will find very valuable. So let's actually go to uh, the labs. Okay, so because then you can really see what we're talking about. So this is the lookup functions. Okay, so what is the point of lookup functions? So lookup functions, uh, the when you have data, you normally will have large number of data. I mean, Excel has about 1 million rows, I think. That's the maximum I think you can take, 1 million rows. So now imagine you are given a data set of 1 million rows, and then you need to talk about this with maybe your supervisor. Now, you won't just be going through all these long, rows of data. It wouldn't make sense, right? You will need to show like a summary, of the data so that looking at that summary, quickly they can make decisions because that's really the whole point, right? You can show insights, you can show trends, you can also share maybe information that will help them in making decisions or that will even help you in making decisions about a particular situation or a particular project. So just like we did the other time, we will also follow through with the lab because I think the lab is just an easiest way for us to go in and go after that. We can go to the next one. So we'll do exactly the same thing, but this time we're looking at the L3 worksheet. So I'm not sure if this is L3, but we can navigate to L3 by just clicking here. So this is L3. So that's a worksheet that workbook we are using this time around. So this is the one. So as I was saying, if you look at the data, let me see if they have the raw data for this one here. Yeah, I don't think they have the raw data. So the raw data for this could actually be long, it could be 1 million, whatever it is. But you want to show something that anyone will look at on that spreadsheet and quickly have an idea of what is going on with that data set. So the one we're going to look at here now is called the lookup functions. So lookup functions will actually look at a data set and will use some type of function, which is called the lookup function, and then we'll pick some numbers from that data and then we'll put it in a place where people can actually see the number that relates to that particular information. So the information we're talking about here is you see those four rows that are on the top there: employee ID, row ID, employee department. So we want to be able to pick some data points from this Excel sheet and then put them in that small box up there. So this is really what one of the functions of lookup. So we have two types of lookup. We have the H lookup, we have the V lookup. V lookup is the one that I think a lot of people are familiar with. But aside from these two lookups, there are other functions that do something close. So one is called index and the other one is called match. So their work is almost the same, but the one that we really look at here is VLOOKUP and the H lookup probably. So what are we going to do here? You see, we've gotten to this point. We've got the workbook ready. At the bottom of the workbook, click the employees worksheet. So that's where we're going to work. This is where we're going to work. And then select cell B1 and type 1001. So where is cell B1? This is cell B1. So this is the number that we're going to use to obtain information from this spreadsheet. So apparently, this is the employee in question that we're looking for their details. So the moment we know this employee's ID, then we'll be able to use the lookup function to extract information about this employee from this long spreadsheet and then put it right there so that we can really see who that person is, the person that has this ID. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I think the first one that they are using here is the match one. Okay, but the one that I'm actually interested in is the lookup. The lookup. So this is a lookup. So if you do enroll in this particular course here, you gain access to all of this. So select B4. So this is B4. Okay, so we want to put these guys, the guy with this employee ID, we want to put this department information here. So yeah, for example, a lot of in companies you might have 1,000 employees, and you can't be going through all these long rows of employees before you get the person you are looking for. So why don't you use this tool to just pick that by referencing this ID of this person. So and that's what VLOOKUP will do for us. So what we'll do here, we just put is equal to in the box there, and then we put VLOOKUP. And the good thing is that when you're using functions in Excel, it will actually give you some type of guidance, which will help to prompt the types of things you need to include. So you can see right there is showing us we need to put the lookup value, which will just reference it by clicking on the employee ID, which is this one. So B2, right? So click on that. Okay, so that's the lookup value. All right, and then the next thing is the table array. The table array here is we will reference the entire table, so which is referenced using data. So data is what that is. So it has been this. I skipped some things here. This data name that you are seeing here was actually assigned to this entire um, range, of the data set. So there's a way to do that. It's another section which I skipped because of time. So this way it makes it easy for you to be able to call a list of cells, a range of cells. You'll be able to call them up easily in your functions. So and that's what you see going on here. Initially, they define this name for this range. They call it data, and there's a tool for that. Then you can easily call it up. And then that's what you see going on here. So we put that. So this is telling us the table array that we want the VLOOKUP function to search to obtain this information. And then you can see the interesting thing is that because you've given it this name, data, it can actually be in another workbook or even in another file, and you'll be able to call this particular data set, right? Because you gave it that name. So that's the interesting thing about giving names to the name range. I mean the data ranges. So the next thing is the column index number. So where do we want? So we've identified the data set where we want this function to look into, right? That's what we call it VLOOKUP. Okay. So now what is the column number? What is the column number we want this thing to go to? Apparently, we don't want it to be going to every other place. We just want it to go to one particular column to look for this. And you already know what that column will be because the name department already suggests that. But here we're going to put a number of the column number. So for employee ID, the column number is 1. Employees, the column ID is, the column number is 2. department, the column number is 3. So we just put 3 there. Okay. So, and the next thing here is the third one uh, is the okay, let me see. Okay, so the third one here, or let's say the fourth argument, they call it argument. What you put in this function is called argument. So the fourth argument here is, do we want it to look for something that is exactly the same number, that is this 1001, or do we want it to look for something close to it? Okay, so I think in this case we're using false because we want it to match exactly that number. So we would use false in this case because we want it to look for exactly that number. So once we have put in that, then we'll just press enter. Okay, so you can see it automatically brings the accounting, which is what you have here, right? This is what we're actually looking for. But like you might not really like, why you like, okay, so if this is what you're looking for, why don't you just look at it and just pick it, right? But we're talking about a workbook that might have millions of information. You don't have that time. Okay, so this is a type of tool that saves you time, not having you go through all the Excel workbook to go and look for a particular information. So that's what VLOOKUP is. Now, the other one, which is so I'm going to close this because we're done with this. And you will notice that it actually would assess how you're doing. That is, this lab will assess how you're doing because it will ask you to take a screenshot or to save that file and then maybe upload it, and then through that it will be able to assess, how you're doing. And the great thing here is that once you are able to complete and you actually pass, we would actually issue you a certificate of completion for this particular training. So and that's the way this really works. So I'm going to close this so that we can go to the next one. I said the next one that we're going to go to. I want to know if there's a question at this point in time. Is there any question? Any question or any issue yet, or everything is going well? I hope that somebody has mentioned here that I've reduced the Zoom, please, but I wanted to be sure if this is really what I've talked about already. Any question from those who are still here? No questions. You can just indicate no question if you're hearing me. Okay, not yet. Okay, so let's continue then. So the next thing I want to look at after I want to look at pivot table. So pivot table is also a very, very interesting tool to use with Excel. So it also helps with the same purpose of, you know, summarizing data. So you want to quickly get to some things on a workbook, and you want to present in a very detailed way that they could really gain insight from this data set that you have analyzed. So that's what we use pivot tables for. So this is the one that relates to pivot tables. So when it comes to pivot table, we're gonna create a pivot table and then we're gonna analyze a pivot table data. I really like this tool. It's a very cool tool that anyone that is a business professional definitely needs to know. And the interesting thing is in supply chain, in project management or business analysis, you will definitely need this type of you know tool. So let's go to the lab for this one. Um, yeah, I'll try to slow down a little bit here because I know it could, at the beginning, it could really look very tricky when we're working with all the link you show is not same personal eyesight. Like business. So what, although you're talking about links, I'm not sure what you mean by links. Not sure if you can explain. What do you mean by links? You said all the link that I'm showing is not seen. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Is this small? Like it's small or yeah? Hmm. Yeah. Okay. 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 So I'll. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. 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 No problems. Somebody else wanted. Go ahead. Hmm. Okay. You know what I'm going to. Let me. You know what I'm actually using a very big screen, so maybe that's the problem. So let me try to change the screen. I'll change it to another screen. Maybe this time you'll be able to see it better. So because that big screen allows me to be able to see a lot of things at the same time, like because I'm also monitoring what is going on in the back end and on the stream and stuff like that. So now I have it on my small laptop, but I'm hoping that that will make a difference. Okay. Okay, so that's what is going on then. I was using a big screen earlier, so the big screen kind of helps me to be more productive. But this one, um, you can see, but then I'll be struggling a little bit. So if you can be patient with me, so that if I'm having to go through to see what is being shown to me on the screen. Yeah, that will be helpful. So what I'm trying to show this time around is the pivot table, and apparently is on a smaller screen this time around. So what is a pivot table? The pivot table is a summary of your data. Um, so basically, it's lets you report on maybe trends based on your information, and they are particularly useful if you have long rows or columns that hold values you need to track the sums of and easily compare to one another. So this is basically a tool that we use in summarizing data. So you can have data sets that have about 1 million rows. It doesn't matter. So this particular tool will help you to actually summarize that, so that anybody that you are presenting to, they find it easy to quickly gain insight into what that data is about. It's also a type of a tool that you could use to tell stories about what is going on with that particular data set that you are reviewing. So we would use the lab again. And then I think for this lab, we would use start topic B. That's the lab for this one here. So be a bit of a struggle here because I have to go and look for the local disk. It's not showing like I had it before. Yeah, it's okay. I'll get it. Can you see my screen, right? Okay, so this is start topic B that we're going to. Okay, so this is the data we're working with this time around. You can see what the data looks like. You can see how long this data is. We're talking about 3,000 rows is what we have here. So we want to process these 3,000 rows using the what is it called now? We want to process it using pivot table. Yeah, that's the word. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on insert. Okay. Now click on tables. Now you will see pivot table. You will see recommended pivot table. So the one we'll click is the pivot table. Okay, so now once you click that, there will be another box that shows up. So you will see that it already picks the table range. You know, the first radio button you see there, select a table or range. We can already see it picked sales data, okay, as a table range. So this is all of the data we have on this particular worksheet. So what is next is it wants us to choose where we want the pivot table to be placed in. So we choose new worksheet because we don't want to superimpose it on this particular worksheet. So it will create another worksheet where it will put that data set. I mean the pivot table. So click OK. So you can see what we have here. Now it's not showing you anything, right? Because we haven't really picked the data or the fields that we want to include in the pivot table. Okay, so like I said, I'll slow it down just to make sure that everybody can follow along. Um, yeah, so the pivot table field is shown on the right hand side, as you can see. So the pivot table fields is really uh, a tool, or let's say the section of the pivot table where you are going to choose the field of interest to you. So what are you really interested in knowing? Which one is that one exactly? The one on the labs, right? Oh, yeah. So that's one of the issues I have to deal with here. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can maximize it. Yes, that's actually minimizing it. Okay, so let me try to see if I can reduce. It doesn't give that option, man. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let me put it back on the big screen and let's see how that looks at your end. Is it better? Is it bigger now? Okay, it's bigger. Okay, so you can see everything now. Yeah. Once you are on the lab, right? Because I'm showing this on the lab, so the lab will always have that instruction part of things. It is designed with it. Yeah. So because it's meant to be helping as you go along with the instruction. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, you will need to choose what is of interest to you before you will see anything here in the spreadsheet. So what we're really interested in when it comes to this particular table is we're interested in the products. Okay, so you see I clicked it, you see it showed up immediately. We're interested in, I believe, the category. So that is the category of each type of product. I believe we're also interested in the quarter. All right. So, but let me leave that for now. I'm actually looking for um, total sales. Okay, so it's showing us total sales now. The one thing I want to do is I want to move the, let me see their instruction here, because the ones that they were able to, that we need to move. Okay, I've checked on total sales. I've checked on products. I think category is the one that is not really required at this time. So let me remove category for now. Okay. Oh, okay. So which part do you want me to go to? Oh, okay, okay. So let's start again. No problem. We'll start again. So let me close this one. Yeah, like I said, it's one that is a very useful tool, but it could be very confusing for somebody who haven't used it before. So again, we go to insert, right, and then we click on pivot table, all right, and then you can see this box here, right? It says select a table or range. It's already pre-selected. You already detected it automatically. So what I tell people is click on any cell within that table and then click on insert. Because sometimes if you don't do that, it could really be confusing. So click. So let me go back. Let me just so I can demonstrate what I'm saying. So click here. So you see I click on anything within this data set, and then I go to pivot table, and you'll see that I already picked the entire data set. Okay, and then the next thing is to click new worksheet instead of putting it right on top of the worksheet we have here. Click on a new worksheet and then click OK. So then it will show you, you see it automatically created another sheet instead of having it placed on that data. So the next thing then is for us to click on those things that are of interest to us in this particular table. We are interested in the total sales. We're interested in the products. I believe we're interested in the region as well. Uh, but let me leave the region for now. I will need to, okay, so product, we've selected product. Um, so which other one do we select? Sum of totals. We've selected that. That's the total sales right here. And then let me see if there's any other thing to select. Yeah, I think those are the two things that we need for now, based on what I'm seeing here actually. So we can see here the products, and we can also see the sum of total sales for the products for the entire organization. So the other thing that we can do here is we can actually then format. So is the formatting information that they are providing here in the format cell dialog box. Uh, in the value field dialog box, click the number format, and then we can format this. So, for example, let me click on this one here. Total sale, we can actually do this from home as well. We can format with dollars, and let's see, we can reduce. Okay, I think it's not working that way. We need to do it here within the pivot field. Okay, let's do this first. Just give me a second here. Okay, let's follow the instruction. Click the number format button in the value field dialog box. I thought I'm seeing it here, but okay, let's do this. So this is it, value field settings, and then this is sum. Okay, this is referring to the sum in this column, and then we would click on this number format. Now we can change the currency. So basically this is formatting. We've already done what we're supposed to do here. So currency, and then we can put it in a number of decimal places that we want. If we want 3, if we want 0, whatever, and then we can click on OK. Okay. So this then is expected to format this into dollars, and you can see it's now in 2 decimal places. So this is well, there are several other things that you can actually take out of this particular tool, in that you can, whatever you're interested in, you can click on quarter, for example. And you see what I'm going to do with this quarter is I'm going to take it into the filters. So I'm going to put it into the filters section. And you will see I can actually then click on the quarter of interest to me. So this is quarter one now. And if I want quarter two, this is quarter two numbers. You can see the numbers changing, right? And then this is quarter three. I can see the numbers for quarter three. And if I want the numbers for all the year, throughout the year, I just click on all, and that shows me everything here. And then the other one that I also think would make sense to add, even though I'm not seeing it in the instruction here, is the region. Okay, the region. So the region too, I will put it on, I think it will make sense to put it on rows instead of, okay, it's actually in rows now. So if we can put it in column, so you can see it basically then analyzed the numbers for each region, and then everything summed to the total here. So this is some of the interesting thing you can do here. And you can also add a category if you want. So to categorize for each of the different types of, so you can know the number for each category as well, for each of the product. So the other thing that might be of interest is the salesperson. So maybe that could be a row, that could also even be in the filter section. So you can put this, you can just drag, you can see I'm dragging it. So I can drag it into the filter section that way. And then I'll be able to know the data for each salesperson. So this is the data for Anderson, in terms of his sales, across the region. If I want to node for another person, just click on that, click OK, and then that will show you the data for that person. So this is pivot tables. I want to know if there's question particularly for this one. Okay, now did you see? I think your question here is what I've just answered, right? When you were asking about how we started to insert the pivot table, was that answered? Formatting. Oh, okay, okay, I get what you mean. So now, so if you go to sum of values, this is actually an interesting one, because there's a lot of things you can use it for. So click on the arrow, right? Did you say I click on that arrow? Sum of. Okay. Now click on value field settings. So you will see another box show up, the value field settings box. Then you click on number format right there. And then you can do your formatting there. The other thing that I think I need to also mention here is you can see the summary that is being done here. There are different types of summary that are being done. So there is sum, there is count, there is average, there is maximum, minimum. You can see even some statistical numbers could be generated here. So depending on what you really want to show, right, is you can come here and then make those changes. Currently, what that column is showing us, which is this grand total column, okay, what is showing us is total, but you can actually change it to show you count, or to show you average, or to show you maximum or minimum. So depending on what you really want to show in your analysis. So that is for pivot tables. So I will go to another one just because of time. Now let's look at dashboards. Dashboard is pretty straightforward. So all of these things that we've been doing all this time, we want to put them in a dashboard for maybe for presentation purposes or for even for reporting purposes. That is what you use dashboard for. So all of the things you've been generating, like pivot table, charts, and every other thing, we want to put them into one place to be able to put it into a report or to maybe for reporting purposes or even for presentation purposes. So that is the next thing that I would like to show. So just again, I will need to go to a lab, because instead of us going through all these long stories, we can quickly go to a lab and figure it out. Okay, so I'm not sure why it's not coming up. Just 1 second here. Okay, so I think we're back here. Let's go back to the labs. I can show what we really want to do next. So the one we want to do next is the dashboard. So the dashboard, yeah, this is the dashboard here. Okay, so let me get to that dashboard. Any questions? Questions? Any questions so that make sure that we all get something out of this. So it's creating dashboard, but we want to go to another Excel sheet now. So we're going to start topic C. Okay, so that's the one that I will try to navigate to now. Start topic C. So this is the Excel sheet for that. Okay, so yeah, this particular Excel sheet here, yeah, a lot of things has been done already. You can see the chart. I think we did that, creating that chart. So this is another one. This is pivot table right here. You can see that. Um, you will notice that these regions they use in their columns here, and then they use quarter on the rows. And the other type of things that I skipped is what we call slicers. So slicers are what you have there. You remember when I was using filters for the salesperson in the pivot table. So this is another type of a tool that you can use for that. That if you really just want to see something for Anderson, just click on Anderson and it will be showing you all of this, which is just for Anderson. And if you want for maybe a particular product, let's say computers, it will then also narrow it down to the sales that this person did for computers specifically. So this is what they call slicers. I skipped that, but because what we want to do really this time around is we want to do a dashboard that combines all of these things onto one page. So that's what we want to quickly get at. So let's do dashboards here. So to do dashboards, we'll create another sheet and then we'll call it dashboard. It's a little bit manual, a kind of process, because what we have done so far is create all these different visualizations, like the pivot table, the one on the lookup function, and the chart box. Either is a clustered one, the cluster column chart, or the stacked column, whatever it is. You want to put everything together into one spreadsheet or worksheet where when you use it for reporting or presentation purposes, they can see this tell some story in terms of how we're doing, whatever that type of business scenario is, if it's supply chain related, IT related, engineering, or whatever. So we will put all of this in this particular spreadsheet here. So the first thing to do is let's go here. We want to like move this one. This is the product sales by quarter, so we can move that. Then we just click, okay, not here. Let's see. Yeah, so right click. So you will see move chart. Okay, so move chart, become move chart, and then it will now ask you where you want to put it. So where do you want to put that? So on the dashboard, right? So basically, this is like us just putting everything that we've been doing together into one report that will help to tell some stories or to showcase the the activities that we're trying to provide insight on. So we've done that. The next one I think is the trend chart. So this is a trend chart. So I didn't cover trend lines, right? So trend line is also another thing that will be interesting when it comes to visualization. Basically, trend line is you see this chart initially it was created with lines. When we're creating a chart, you will choose the lines option, and then it will show you how the data is fluctuating over time. So when you want to use a trend line, just click on this chart elements logo here, and then you will see the different things you can put on that chart. So you can see the trend line here. Just select it. So you see now I deselected it. Or if I select it, you'll see the trend lines right there. Okay, so this trend line is showing us the downward trend of this data. That's really the whole purpose of the trend line. So having said that, let's move this one as well. So we can move this, move chart, and we can move it to dashboard again. Okay, so you will see it's moved here. Okay, so and then you can do that for all this other stuff, the slicer, and then which other thing do we have here now? Yeah, we can also move the sales by category as well, just exactly the same thing. Yeah, you can move it and move it here. So just right click and then that, move chart again, select dashboard, click OK. Then it will bring it here for you. Oops. Okay, and then the next thing you do is to then format this, to make it look more, fancy. Basically, that's just what you have to do here. It's just basically formatting. So if you want to format again, you will look to pivot chart tools, context box or context menu. So if I click on any other thing here, you will see it disappeared. But if I click on any chart, you can see that it's showing. So you can go to format and then you'll be able to format this dashboard here. You can, I think they give some dimension. They give some dimensions here, 2.5 by 4. So you can just say 2.5 by 4, the size of this dashboard that you want, and then just press enter. Okay, and then you will size up each one of these. So I think we can do it on the dashboard instead of doing on just one of them at a time. So so this is what everything put in here together then form what you have, what you call a dashboard. The remaining lab basically is to just keep formatting until it looks really like what you want. So there are other things that you can do, like the geospatial one. So you can also represent this data using, the locations where these data, I mean, where these sales activities are ongoing. So you can use the map chart for that. So it's just about inserting a map chart and then you'll be able to do, so you can see maps here. So you insert that and you'll be able to, automatically the data get populated into it, and you can format as well, just like you've done on these other ones. So at this point, we'll move to another segment, which is basically the other aspects. Um, Maps. So I'm not doing maps because of time. Yeah. So, but if you want to do maps, just click here, and then you can choose an option of map that you want. Yeah. So you see it on that charts. So you see the maps chart here. So that way you'll be able to just follow through with the other ones, the other types that we've been doing as well. Okay, so the one that I want to talk about is statistical analysis aspects of things, which it's also important to learn some of this stuff. I'm going to close this and go back to the main. So let's go to Um, okay, so this is the one where we are right now. So this is the data analysis tools for Excel. So, but it's not going to show by default. So this is the type of tool you will need to do cleaning or even transforming. So when we talk about data analysis, there are all those data preparation processes that needs to happen. Where I said data sometimes comes raw with all sort of challenges, some missing missing rows, missing data, and all that type of stuff. So you will use this type of data analytics tools for this, and also you will use it for statistical analysis as well. So let's look at the one for statistical analysis here. Before we can actually do this, um, we need to install. Okay, so let me go to the worksheet first. So we're using the workbook L7. So let's put that here first, and then I can go to. So L7 is what we're doing right now. This is L7. Okay. So what we want to do now is we want to use some statistical analysis tool. Now, what happens with Excel is that it doesn't upload this by default. Well, this is 2019. It is possible that the 2022 Excel has made it by default to have data analysis tools, right? So, but for 2019, if that's what you have to add it in. So you click on File, you go to Options. Okay, that's where you will upload your analysis tools. So you can see add-ins here, right? Click on add-ins. So this is where you will find the additional tools that is not currently on Excel 2019 by default. So there are several other tools here. Some of them they're used for very advanced stuff, right? You can see the Power Pivot is also here. Analysis tool pack, solver add-ins. All these are there for advanced analytical activities. And you can see economic order quantity for supply chain, right? So the one that we want to use right now is this one, analysis tool pack. Okay, so how do we get that? Excel add-in. Okay, click on Excel add-ins. That's what you want. Then click on go. Okay, so you can see the list of all Excel add-ins here. So the one we want is this one, analysis tool pack. Okay, click on analysis tool pack. Click on OK. All right. So how do you know if you have it now? Go to data on your Excel sheet, and then you will see it right here, data analysis. And if you click on it, it will show you the list of all the different statistical functions that you have in Excel. You can see the ANOVA tests for data analysis. You can see correlation, covariance, descriptive statistics, exponential smoothing, um, and on and on and on and on. So the one we want to work with here is the moving averages. So click on moving averages. If you are in supply chain, you probably know moving averages, or you're in sales, you know moving averages. So basically, this is a forecasting tool. So you know data set about your inventory for this year. You have that. You want to forecast for next year. Okay, that's moving averages is one of those techniques, for forecasting. There is weighted moving averages, there is exponential smoothing. So, but the one we want to quickly do here is moving average. So click on OK. Now you will see the moving average, box. So the first thing you want to do is um, you want to highlight the input range. Okay, so we're going to hold this cursor here, and then we'll just drag it down. That's what we want to work with, right? Okay, so I think I didn't copy everything. I have to go all the way up. That's not everything, right? Oh, that's everything. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so let's go back. Data analysis to moving averages. Okay, right? So let's just hover on the one that we want, so you can see it automatically copied it. So you can choose intervals. So intervals meaning when you're doing your calculation, how many previous months you want to include in your moving average calculation. Do you want the 3 previous months, the 4 previous months? So the option here is to use the 3 previous months for calculating the moving averages. Okay, so and then you want to indicate where you want to put that information, right? So you want to put it somewhere. Let me see. I think they gave some instruction on where to put it here. Okay, let's move on to the next instruction. Just give me a second. Yeah, I want to see where they want us to move it. Um, okay, well, we can just choose anywhere as long as that works for us. So let's choose here. Okay, so output range. Let's choose here. Okay, that's where we want to put it. Okay, so let's click on OK. So you can see what we have here now is the moving average forecast for the next year. So let's say this is the for the next year basically. And so in year, let's say this is year 2000 and 2023 sales. This will be the forecast for year 2024 sales. And if you double click on the first one, you can see how it calculated that number. So it is using the data for the previous year month of April, May, and June, and then averaging that gives you the forecast for the month of June in year 2024. So this is basically using a statistical tool of moving averages in data analysis. There are other types of, as you would see here, there are other type of statistical analysis that you can do here, even pretty advanced and cool ones, you know. So, but we won't have time to be able to go to that. So I'm going to skip this to go to the next lab. Okay. But any question on this one? If there's any. Do you have any question? Okay. So let's move on to the next lab here. So the next lab is the one where I would conclude. The next lab here, we're talking about getting and transforming data. So as I mentioned earlier, data comes from different sources, different file types, CSV, TXT, even some are web-based types of um, files. In fact, there are some PDF files that could also be data files. You know, like you can literally upload PDF files that contain data, and this particular tool will be able to generate a data set from it. So this is what these tools are used for. So we're going to be able to connect the data with queries, clean and combine data, shape and transform data. So essentially, this is what this is. So I'm going to open the labs here so that we can look at this tool. And this is also another very powerful tool in Excel, in the sense that this is what helps you in preparing data for processing. So you can get data from all type of sources, but then you need to process them before you need to prepare them before you can actually then analyze them. So this is what this particular tool helps us to achieve. Okay, so I think there's another workbook that we use for this, workbook L8. So let's go for workbook L8 here. So this is workbook L8. Okay, I'm gonna close this. Now, so this is a type of data. This actually has been transformed in the sense that it's not raw data. So, but what if we have raw data? So I'll show you a raw data here. I believe it's somewhere here. .txt. Yeah, this one here. Reducing, you see, this is a type of a raw data that we can have. So this is a .txt file, but it has data in it. So we need to be able to transform it to an Excel data or a data that we can process, that we can analyze. So how do we go about that? So what we want to do is we'll go to data tab. Okay, so you can see the data tab here, and then go to get data. Okay, now, so you will get data from file because we have it stored on this computer. So, but which data file type do we have that we're trying to transform? So we will use from text or from CSV. So like I said earlier, CSV is also a data type. We also have JSON. So you can see JSON, there's XML, data types, and all sort of data type maybe from data sources like SharePoint and all of that. So you can actually upload these data files and then upload them and transform them in Excel. So from text is one that we want right now. Okay. So we go to that same folder, local disk, into visualization. So you see, it already detected it because we have chosen that this is a type of data that we want to transform. Okay, so there you go. One thing you need to ensure is that you are choosing the right type of delimiter. Well, it already detects the delimiter, so that's the one good thing about Excel tool for transformation. Like it already detects the delimiter that we use in separating this data. It's a tab, and if you choose the right one, apparently your data would look very well organized like this. So this is a preview. Okay, so it's showing you a preview of what your data will look like if you load it. Okay, so we're going to load this, but normally if you are dealing with a data that you are trying to clean up, this is actually what you would do. You will use this transform data, and that would initiate what we call Power Query. So Power Query is a tool that you would use in cleaning up data because there are some set of tools that are in Power Query that are not on Excel. So if you want to clean it up, you use transform data. But if you just want to go ahead and load it, that's the way it is. Just click on load and then we'll load it and it will give you in a format that is actually you're familiar with. So you can see what we have here, right? So, but like I said, normally what we should have done is actually um, was to transform the data first because you can see here there's some empty rows here, right? This which we should clean, we should remove. Even these ones, we should remove these ones too, right? Right? And then if you go all the way down, you will see like there's another empty row towards the end. So this one here, which is a total one, you also want to remove that. So normally you will use Power Query to actually, you know, clean up this data to make it, uh, you know, more like what you really want. So you can see here is showing us as a Power Query data here on the right hand side. And then what you do is to edit it. So now it will load the Power Query now editor. So you can see this Power Query editor. So this is not the regular, Excel tools right now. This is showing you Power Query. And the interesting thing I want to mention is that you realize that this is a 2019 Excel. So there has been some advanced tools that are Microsoft has also created called the Power BI. So you guys probably have been hearing about Power BI for data visualization and all those things. So all of these tools are regular on Power BI, whereas on Excel, they're more like add-ons. They're more like having to do something specific to be able to get access to this data on older versions of Excel. So my point here is that if you already understand a lot of the things we do here, honestly, the next logical step is Power BI, because Power BI already have all of these things as native tools. Not like you have to do something special to be able to gain access to them. So this is where I will conclude, because like I said, I have a class starting at 1 p.m. So what we want to do here is we want to basically uh, do some transformation work on this data that is uploaded here. So some of the things we can do here. So you can see this particular Power Query editor is showing us the name here, and it's showing us apply steps. So as you are making changes on this thing, it will be showing the changes you are making. So which means you can actually go back and remove those changes. So it doesn't have save, unsave, or things like that. This is what you would actually use to undo whatever you have done, right? Because sometimes you might do something and you realize it doesn't make sense. So how do you go about, removing it, especially if you have loaded it, as a data? So you can come here, just remove those things. So the first thing we can do here is that we can actually remove these rows. We don't need these rows. So the first four rows, we can remove them. So reduce rows, that's what you would use. Then remove rows. Okay, so we want to remove rows. So remove top rows. That's the one we want to do right now. We want to remove the top rows. So we'll click on this and then type in 4. So we want to remove the 4 top rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. Click on OK. So you see those rows disappeared. And then you can see that change is showing us. It's showing us here. Remove top rows. The next one, you want to remove the last. Remember, I showed you the last row. So remove the last row, remove bottom rows. Okay. So the first one basically, because that's the only one that we really want to remove. So remove bottom rows. And if you go to the bottom, you see that last row that was empty, we would have removed it. And if you want to undo, just click on this and it just undoes that and it returns it back. Okay. Um, what other thing can we do? There's a lot of things you can do here. Again, this is a tool for Power Query, is a tool for cleaning up and preparing data so that you can then analyze them. So you can split columns. There's some type of data that I will receive. Say when people register for our events, sometimes the type of question we'll ask them, it might lump things up, that may not really be easy to process or to analyze. Then we can split the column, and we can split it by delimiter or by any type of thing. We can split them so that, okay, if they say several things, then how about they split those things into columns that we can then process separately from one another. So these are the type of things that you use this tool for. You can also turn these actually into, so I think you can use first rows as header. So now we have the ID, order ID as the first row. So we can use this as our header for this data now. So you can see it automatically converted them to header, okay, which is really what we want, right? So this is what you use the Power Query for, and this is where I will stop because I have an ad, so need to start another training at 1 p.m. But I have a survey for you guys just to help provide feedback for this session. If there are any other type of session you prefer, you have some suggestions, so I will share with you another, uh, survey that you can help to provide those suggestions on how we may improve for future sessions. Um, and by the way, if you are interested in this, we are setting up a study group for this. If it's something you'll be interested in to really get hands-on and to follow through with all those labs to improve your skills, yeah, that is something that I would really recommend. We're starting in April. It will be a study group, and I will share a link post this event so that you guys can enroll if it's something you'll be interested in. So I'm going to leave that for now. Please help to participate in that survey. It will really, really help. And then for those who might be joining on LinkedIn, thanks for joining me today. This is where we'll stop. We will continue next week, Saturday. We're going to be welcoming newcomers. We're going to be talking about the cultural nuances in Canada for newcomers, because this is very important. I've gone through a lot of newcomers, and I've realized that sometimes there are some things that needs to be said in capital letters so that newcomers will be able to be successful in their transition. I'll look to see if I can bring in Gloria, who is public speaking, effective communication expert for us, and to see if she'll be able to join in on the session. So that's what I have for us today, guys. Thanks for joining. I will need to leave now, and you will get a follow-up message from us, providing more information on how you can join the upcoming session. Hopefully, you'll be enrolling so that you can really get hands-on and practice on the labs. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining in. Okay, so what I can do here is actually 500, but I'm offering you guys some a those who are joining us today, I'm offering you guys a discount. You will see it in a follow-up message that you will get soon. But let me see if I can actually copy that link. If you go to our supply chain school website, you will actually see it there. But since you guys are here already, I'm going to just share with you in a second here. Yeah, so for those who are joining us today, you will get a message, and we're offering you some discount to be able to join the session. Oh, that's it for me. Bye, guys. See you again on Saturday. Thanks for joining, Ikena. Pleasure. You're welcome. All right.